Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. This is message. Hi, Dan. All right.
Welcome to Tea Time with
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky.
This is super recent.
Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. I missed you guys. I really did. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. To all of my Tea Time with Bunky followers and subscribers, I would like to say thank you so much. I appreciate you taking this ride and this journey with me. Next week will be 4 years. Next year is Tea Time with Bunky anniversary, and I have a super special episode coming up. It's the continuation of Loretta's story. So for those that don't know about Loretta's story, go back over and catch 2 shows previous to this. Living with Try Jim. It's the caregiver side, not even the caregivers, her support, what they went through. So that's next week. 4th anniversary Tea Time with Bunky. Yeah. Like, share, follow, and subscribe. Tell a friend. This episode is going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. I'm waiting for my guests to tune on. But a little bit about Tea Time with Bunky. Tea Time with Bunky is more than just a show. It's a safe space. It's a welcoming space where everyone can share their stories and life journeys. From survivors and advocates to community leaders and everyday voices, no story is too big and no story is too small. Each episode dives deep into the topics that matter, from social issues, y'all, and politics to self-healing transformation. Join us every Thursday live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For some reason, I'm having a problem with my Instagram tonight. That's why I tell everybody to follow YouTube. Hello, follow my YouTube page. And become a part of the community that believes in the power of sharing and healing together. So that's a little bit about Tea Time with Bunky for those who don't know anything about Tea Time with Bunky. You can also catch me on your favorite podcast platforms, which is Pandora Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Pocket Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Cashbox, and Amazon Music. So that's that. Got all that out the way. There's a lot of activities going on this weekend, next weekend. Everybody preparing for Easter. We all know Easter has nothing to do with the Easter Bunny. But for the kids, there's a lot of events going on at the Hurleyville Arts. Saturday, there's a breakfast, and then you can take pictures with the bunny, and then there's an Easter egg hunt after. And then there is another Easter egg hunt at the Ted Strobe building in Monticello. And then there's another one in Woodburn, New York, hosted by Hope Alive 845. So that's all of that. So I wanted to get that out. But tonight's show, let me do this little intro real quick. Tonight's guest is someone who embodies resilience, reflection, and realness. He's a poet whose words don't just rhyme, they resonate. He's a published writer using his story to help others find the courage to tell their own. He's a business owner building from the ground up with purpose and vision. And he's a life coach, helping people break chains that they didn't even know they were carrying. And y'all, we know that's real, especially in the Black community. Mathew Smith couldn't let the trauma in his life take him down to a dark path, but he chose growth. He couldn't become what he saw, but instead he became something greater. And through it all, his mother's strength never left his heart or his mind. Not only is he sharing his voice on tonight's episode, y'all, but you can also experience his journey through his 2 powerful books, My Life, My Legacy, and Realms of My Reality, both available right now on Amazon. So he's here talking healing, identity, purpose, and the power of using your voice. So please help me welcome a man with deep wisdom, creativity, and courage, Mr. Mathew Smith. Welcome.
Thank you. How you doing?
Good. Was that right? Was that okay?
Beautiful.
Okay. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Okay. Why complain, right?
Why complain?
Why complain? Okay, so tell everybody a little bit about you before we jump into this.
Well, I'm 50 years old. I have 2 sisters, 1 brother, 5 children, 3 girls, 2 boys. Um, I was born in this area, Harris, New York, Harris Hospital.
Respect.
Um,
Me too.
you were?
Yeah. Well, no, I wasn't. I was born in Monticello Hospital.
Ah,
That's you ever heard of Monticello Hospital?
yeah.
The old
Wait,
rehab. Yeah, it's a
on
Monticello
Broadway?
house up that alley
Nope.
rehab. We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
All right.
Crazy.
I was actually supposed to be born in Elmville.
Oh, you didn't make it.
Nah, what happened was I was premature. I was
Right.
coming
We're gonna
forward,
get we're gonna get into that. We're
and
gonna get into
they didn't have the right machines. They couldn't take care of my mom at the time, so they transferred her to Harris Hospital.
okay. So they still don't have the right machines. I'm just saying. That's just like Ellenville Hospital is like advanced first aid kit. That's it really is. It's like an advanced first aid kit. They don't have anything that you need. They ship everybody out, but it's good for the moment, you know.
Yeah, it's like
So
I call it a processing center.
yeah, that's it. That that's it. But yeah, we got a lot to get into. So we just gonna put a pin in that about the premature. Um,
Mhm.
because it's a whole bunch with that. But when did you first realize? When did you first realize that just that you had a story and that how powerful it was, your survival? When did you realize that? Because a lot of people don't open up. Look at how having like flashes. Some people don't open up about your journey. So when did you realize that you had a story to tell and you weren't afraid to tell it?
I actually realized it late. I was I started writing poetry for people in junior high school, but it was more so about them, not me.
Okay.
And I was spotty with it. Like I would do it here and there. And then later on, I was in my it was 2009 is when I published my first book.
Okay.
I was like in my late 30s,
Okay.
but
That's
I
still young.
yeah, it's still young, but it's older in as a writer
Okay.
because I've been writing. I just didn't take my story. I didn't reflect on my story until later.
Okay. So
But
which was the first book? Was the first book My Life, My Legacy or Realms of My Reality?
realms of my reality.
Okay. Um all right.
The cover, the picture on the cover, is actually the building I was living at.
Okay.
I
I'm gonna
grew up
show
in.
people. I'm gonna show people well access both of your books. I was gonna wait a little bit, but let's just show that I'll do it a couple times. That one.
Hmm.
They're both available now, you guys, on Amazon. So go get your copies, Realms of My Reality, but put his name in, Mathew Smith, so that it comes up. So we're going to talk a little bit about Realms of My Reality and then My Life, My Legacy. We're going to get into that. But you sent me, let's just get into it. You sent me a little snippet into your life because I was like, okay, tell me a little bit about you,
Hmm.
right? And when you first sent it, I told you I was like, this is a lot. I don't really want to read all of this, right? I didn't want to do that much homework. So, but when I read it, it was so engaging and it caught me that I
Hmm.
read it a couple of times and wrote notes. And I'm like, wait a minute, because the way you write, it gives you so many different perspectives. And I was like, this is deep. A lot of people, you open up. Now, before we get into what you opened up about, when did you feel it was safe to do this? Because, like I said, a lot of people aren't going to put their business, their lives out there like that.
Hmm.
When did you feel it like, okay, now is the time?
Um,
Was it at 39 or no?
actually, yeah. I started with when it about my story. That's where it started.
Okay.
What I sent you,
Okay.
but poetry I was writing. I didn't get it. I didn't. If you look in the book, if you get the book, there's so many different.
Yes, in my card, both of them.
There's so many different poems in it. I'm
Hmm.
talking about so many different things. I talk about my brother. I talk about um, you just gotta get it. It's you gotta get it.
Oh, I'm gonna
It's
get it. I'm gonna. What about
you.
your brother though?
My brother, he's 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
Um, he been in prison since 17, in and out, and
Now,
he was
did he give you the permission to tell his story?
no, I didn't tell his story.
Oh, okay. But to tell his business, did you have to be like, yo, bro, this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna put you in it. Did you have to do that first?
No,
Oh, okay.
because I didn't really get too descriptive with him
Okay.
about
Okay.
him.
Okay.
Like
Hey, shot. No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna do that every now and again. Just acknowledge the people, you guys that are tuning in. Tune in. Tell me where you're from and where you're at, what you're doing. Ask Mr. Smith some questions as we get into this.
yeah, he's pretty much the only one
Okay.
that I wrote a poem about him,
Mm-hmm.
but it was basically about um my thoughts about because an addict,
Okay.
so I just spoke on how I
Oh,
felt at certain
and
times, and
that's in the book.
yeah, Black Boy Lost.
Oh, Black. I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to read it. And I'm not gonna get into it on here, but wow, that resonates a lot. I can't wait to read that. I
Mhm.
can't wait to read that. But in this little snippet that you sent me, and you
Uh-huh.
talked about it in the beginning that you were born at Harris because Ellenville didn't have the equipment needed.
Right.
Um, and you were born premature.
Hmm.
You were born for you were wait, did I put this in order? You were is it 4 pounds?
4 pounds 2 ounces. Yep.
4 pounds 2 ounces. And with this snippet, it talks about what your mother went through. Talks about we talked about this. It's your mother's from your mother's eyes. Y'all, this is what I'm saying. You gotta get this because it's crazy the way he writes. I mean, good the way you write, but it's crazy. Me, I say because it's like he writes from well, this is from his mother's perspective, his
Hmm.
father's perspective, his perspective. And when you're reading it, you got to go back and be like, wait a minute. And then the whole story comes together, and you're like, oh my God. So I'm always seeing things from the mom perspective.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Jimmy, it's deep. It's crazy. You got to get the book. You got to get the book. But I always resonate from the mother's perspective, right?
Hmm.
And your mom,
She
strong.
went through a lot.
She went through a lot.
Hmm.
Um, Now, when you wrote, tell everybody a little bit about because you talk about abuse, you talk about both physical and addiction, like alcoholism and different things like you talk about and you make all those connections.
Right.
So your mom, you have yeah, it talks about just your sibling because I was trying to figure out. I'm like, is he older or is he younger from reading this?
I'm older. I'm the
You're,
oldest.
yeah, now you're the oldest. I get that.
Hmm.
You tell everybody what you went through. Tell because when the title it's touched by grace, scarred by life. Your early beginnings was traumatic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell everybody what you went through. Let's talk about that.
Well, um, first off, I was premature, 4 pounds 2 ounces, and when I was born, my jaws were too weak to suck on the bottom, so they fed me through my wrist. I have the scar on my wrist.
I didn't know they
That's
can do that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But that's the beginning. To then, um, I was fed through my wrist, and then later on, as a toddler, as I was crawling around, I got too close to a German Shepherd, which is my grandmother's dog at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up getting bit by the dog. I
You
have
got
that.
more than bit, right? You were
Yeah,
more than bit like that.
yeah. I have that scar on my forehead, and it goes up to the top of my head. You can't see it. You can't see the scar with my hair, but
And you were a
this
toddler.
yeah. I was crawling around,
Okay.
got too close to the food. Yeah,
What happened to the dog?
they put the dog to sleep. But
Was he aggressive or was it just a response?
probably probably a response.
Oh, okay.
Probably a response.
Okay.
Then I was in a fire in the bassinet. My mom was outside, and when she realized there was smoke coming from the house, she ran in the house, snatched me out of the bassinet. We ended up getting out of the house. Nothing wrong with me at all.
So this is all before the age of 4.
Yeah,
It sounds like, yeah, I'm like, this all sounds like before the age of 4. And like when I read the thing about your mom, I'm like, how many of us mothers have done that? Like left it. You don't think anything about it. You like leave the kids, they sleeping. They sleeping. I'm gonna run downstairs and run out. My friends are outside. I can see the baby, hear the baby.
yeah.
Nothing's gonna happen. So when I read that, I really put myself in her place because I've done stuff like that.
Hmm.
And it's and whoever says they don't do it and never do it, they lying. Because it's the
Yeah.
truth. The baby's sleeping. And so I can imagine all that stuff that was playing through your mom's mind when all this is happening. And then here's your dad.
Hmm. But the if you saw if you saw how the house was set up,
Uh-huh.
you would understand like how why she even walked outside because in that the house we were living at the time had windows.
Okay.
It's like you know how those houses that got a front patio connected to it
Yeah.
and it has windows in the front.
Right.
It's probably like 15, 20 windows going across the front.
Hmm.
So she could see me from where she was at outside.
Right.
But it was just smoke she saw. And she realized that it was a fire.
What caused the fire?
Um I think she might have left the stove on or something.
Okay. I've done that too. I've done, these are all things I mean, really, I mean, like if you think about it, like a lot, we've all done these things. It's like,
Yeah,
so for people to jump in, like when y'all read his book, and if you're like, oh well, how people quick to judge.
yeah,
People,
yeah.
they get on
That,
my nerve. They quick to judge, and they know they did it. So it's crazy. So your mom went through all of this. She went through all of this stuff. Anything else happened to you within that time before we get to
nah,
your?
just those, just
Like
just
that's
those things. That's
God's grace covered you,
yeah,
and
that was enough.
yeah, that was enough. Um, God covered you and brought you through that, and while you're dealing with that, with it, so that was dark. Like to know, to learn, because you probably didn't remember all of that. Like you probably had to
Yeah,
hear the stories. You had to hear the
yeah.
stories of what was going on. But as you think about that, how do you think your mother's strength shaped the man you are today? Do you think that played a role into to who you are?
Yeah, definitely. Because she had strength to even get through what she went through.
Right.
So, parents with that type of strength, they always pour into the kids. They pour that
Hmm.
into the kids. So, um, as I got older, she told me, we sat down and she told me everything. She told me about everything. And it wasn't like, some people like to embellish things. They like
Hmm.
to, but I have the scars. So it wasn't, the
Right.
scars matched up with the stories.
Right.
So it, it tripped me out to listen to the story and look at the scars.
Because reading, where is it? I should have pinpointed the way you described the situation with the dog
Yeah,
was. I was like, I had to read it a couple times. I'm like, wait a minute, because he grabbed you by the head. It's like I can't imagine being a mother and seeing it. I don't know I don't know what my response would have been. Like if I would have tried to fight the dog, like what do you try to do? You can't rip the baby out the dog's mouth
right.
because that right there, it's something. So your mom is watching this. I can't imagine it. She's watching this. Okay. You was in the fire. God's grace, she
Yeah.
got you out on time. You were born early. She's dealing with all of this and she's being abused. She's dealing with abuse.
She was actually she was going through that while pregnant with me. Actually, she was getting physically abused while pregnant with me. Till she was going through that before I even came about.
You had wrote in this. Um, you had mentioned something about an older brother. If she had an older brother, if you had an older brother, something about
Oh,
basically if she would have gone through that if you had an older brother.
yeah,
Because
she would.
boys think that, you know,
Yeah,
thank God, I've never experienced that. But I've seen things where boys wanted to fight their fathers to protect their mothers.
yeah.
And you said finally she was strong enough to leave. Like, did she ever sit down and tell you that story? Because your father wasn't always like that. Like he got better. He chilled out
He
until she got pregnant again.
well, he
After
it didn't change with him.
it
She
never changed.
No, it never changed. But he was an alcoholic,
Okay.
so he was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like
He was good
when
when he
he
was
was
sober.
absolutely, but when he was drunk, that was it. But what I never understood because he was never physically abusive with us. It was
Hmm.
always with just her.
Hmm.
I never understood that
And you
myself.
guys saw it. You
Um,
or
no,
heard it. No.
no, I never saw it, but I did see a situation one time. I was about 4 or 5 at the time when he was coming home, and you can see him. You can see him walking up to the house through the front door, and she would stand behind the front door with the those heavy black uh pans.
Those cast iron pans, those
Yes, the
skillets.
heavy ones. Yeah,
Yes.
I remember seeing her standing behind the front door with one of those in her hand.
What
Yeah,
in the world is going through a little boy's mind when he sees that? Because I'm sure you saw the fear in her face, but you didn't know what it was.
yeah,
You you
no
thought it
clue.
was normal. You probably
Yeah,
thought it was normal.
and me and her never spoke on that
Hmm.
specific thing.
Uh-huh.
Like I just remember seeing it. So now, as I'm getting older, with all the stories, how he was, and
Mhm.
I just put two and two together. She stopped herself from hitting him in the head with it.
Because to be honest, I think most women think that. I think most. I mean, you seen it on Medea. You seen it on the Medea movie. Which is
Yeah,
most black women have that skillet,
yeah,
and because it fries the best chicken, it
yeah.
fries the best chicken. So most of us have that skillet, and when in a situation like that's the first. That's really the go-to
Mhm.
weapon.
You're either gonna
You know?
throw the hot grease or hit him in the head with the pan.
Yeah,
One of the two.
and the grits, because the
Yeah,
grits stick, which is crazy that you know
yeah,
things like that. But yeah, that's uh
yeah.
you talked about in the book, because I wanted to ask you. You was talking about mirroring how you didn't want to be like your father.
Right.
You didn't want to be like him. This is what you saw. How long did you see this? Like how long did they stay together? Like how long did you see this?
Um, until I was 5.
Oh, okay. So she didn't subject you to it for a long period of
Nah,
time.
nah,
Smart mom.
nah.
But it was
Yeah,
already
she.
embedded in you, seeing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Like I didn't see much. I just
Right.
saw
Right.
that situation with the pan.
Hmm.
That I remember. But everything else after that was from what she told me when I got older. And
And
because
she.
I
No,
and
go
because
ahead.
I remember specific things, I was able to put everything together while she was telling me. And then he was
Yes.
still drinking,
Great.
huh?
Oh, no, I'm responding to shock. He was like, not the grits. Yes, the grits. The grits.
But he's still he was still drinking up until he passed.
Did he ever talk to you about any? Did you guys ever have a conversation? I know it's like a difficult conversation, but did you ever approach him about, the way he treated your mom or?
Yeah, but he was the type that you know how when people are ashamed of their
Yeah.
actions,
Yeah.
like that's the role he played
Okay.
when the conversation. He didn't want to talk about it because he was especially because I never spoke to him while he was drinking.
Okay.
I was hardly I didn't actually want to be around him
Hmm.
when he was drinking, but that's why I tried to always get him when he was sober. But at that point, he was very embarrassed and shameful. So he would deny most of the stuff.
Right. Right.
You know how that goes. He don't.
Yeah. 'Cause he doesn't
Yeah,
want to face it and be like, okay, I was that monster. I
right.
did that. And it's crazy because you right here, um, referring to this. I want to protect mom. I used to think dad was cool, which most boys and stuff do, I guess.
Mhm.
I'm scared of dad too. I bet he doesn't know. Um, I love everyone else. I thought I loved him too. I hate him for what he does. I wish there was something that I can do. And that's crazy. You said you never hit a girl because I know it makes them sad. The fact that you said you hated him for what he does and you wish that there was something you can do. Everybody should know it's his actions. It's clear when you read it. It's not him. You hate his actions,
Right.
you know. And
Right.
as a little boy, you wish that you could protect your mom. I don't
Yeah.
I have boys, as you know, and I know they try to protect me now. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not in any situation, but they're like they hover over me,
Yeah.
They're like my protectors.
That's automatic.
So I couldn't imagine as a little boy what that felt like. And another part you said I had mentioned, you said you didn't want to be like him. Did you turn into him?
No.
All right.
No.
But is it because of remembering or feeling the way your mom felt? You know what I mean by saying
Um.
feeling how she felt? Because my boys are raised by a mom.
Right.
So they know a lot of things that I went through. Not everything. You don't tell them all your business, but we've had conversations, like, you know, I'm feeling this way. Don't ever treat a girl this way because this is what's happening, or you're doing this and it's going to make her feel that way. So, like, did that steer you in a different way? Because I think that helped my boys for the most part as much as I could help them, you know.
Yeah. Well, over the years, she would always say certain things about female when it comes to females, like don't ever put your hand on females
Mhm.
and don't do this, don't do that. But I
Right.
understood it though because
Right.
I knew what she went through. So all of it made sense to me. But for him, like he taught me lessons without actually teaching me the lessons
Right.
because I would have never wanted to be like him. But I knew it wasn't like, and a lot of people don't understand addiction either.
Hmm.
Like people think like it's the person's fault. It's his father used to used to make moonshine when he was 12, 13 years old. So that's how he actually started drinking.
When he was
And
a teenager
yeah,
like that,
yeah. And moonshine, you know, is like 100 proof.
yeah,
Yeah, that's how he started.
he started off hard.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm glad you didn't follow down that path. Um, because it's rough. I never understood that. Like I never understood men that lay hands on women. I never understood that.
yeah,
I never. I mean, sometimes let's not get it twisted, ladies out there. Some of y'all be doing too much. They do.
yeah.
They do. I always told my boys, don't sit there and be nobody's punching bag. I'm talking about for a
Right,
girl because
right.
you're always gonna be stronger than them.
Hmm.
You're always gonna be stronger than them. But don't lay hands on, but stop them. Like don't sit there and just like grab them. Like if they
Yeah,
put their hands on you because girls hurt too when they hit. That hit
and
like a girl mess ain't real.
yeah, and sometimes they take advantage of that too,
Absolutely.
knowing that you're not gonna do nothing
Abs-
to them. Yeah,
Absolutely. So men, stand up for your rights. Don't be nobody's punch bag. That's just because I raised boys. I didn't raise no girls. So I'm just like, yeah, don't do it. And they know Bunky raised you. They're not gonna hit a girl, but he's not gonna sit there and let you lay hands on him either. That's stupid.
yeah.
Okay, so you use poetry to express as a tool of expression, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, has it been because I know when I was going through therapy and I need to go again, but when I was going through, I used to journal. So do you use poetry as a form of healing?
Um, no, actually,
It's that moonshine. Oh, you don't.
no,
So writing stuff down isn't heal therapeutic to you?
no.
Mentally?
I never used it as that.
Okay.
I never did. I just love to write.
Okay.
Cause
Oh.
at the time, cause realistically, like at the time, I started getting into my writing. I
Hmm.
was already past all of the all of the stuff that I've went through.
So you didn't have any like suppressed stuff you needed to write and get out?
Nah,
No? Well, that's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask you, because this is just a question to me. So you said you
uh-huh.
never use it for therapy. Have you ever seen a therapist?
No,
No. Okay. I'm asking this just because I know where we're going, and I just want to know that you do you ever feel a need to see a therapist?
um, I never really felt the need,
No.
but um, I probably, I probably, I don't want to say I probably should.
Good. Because I'm like,
I
and I'm
could.
leaning like that. I'm not saying you got issues because I don't know if you went. No, that I went to school. I had 1 year left, 1 year, and I got to go finish it for my master's in clinical mental health counseling.
uh,
Right. So that's why, like, when I'm talking and I heard things, I'm like, is he talking to somebody? Did it, because it's pent up trauma. You may not know it, and I just don't want it to come out in another way, you know.
Yeah.
And it's okay as a Black man to see a therapist. I have a great one
Right.
right
Yeah.
here. My
Definitely.
cousin Jesse. Jesse is a clinical social worker. He has a practice. He's amazing. I'm just saying, but I just wanted to get that out. I just wanted to, for your mental health. I want you to be good. I want you to be
Yeah.
okay. You know,
Yeah.
is there a piece that you can share? Piece of poetry, whatever, that represents your transformation or your resilience.
A
Because you've
piece.
gone through some things. Is there did you ever write anything? I'm trying not to jump ahead. There, let's jump ahead because I just got to talk about this and trying to do all this, and this is too much. There was a situation that arose, right? You told me about it that initially got my attention, right? We could talk about that. My son said you never told this story. Now, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel comfortable talking about it? Wait, writing is very therapeutic, even if one doesn't realize it was helping and healing. Yes, I believe so too. I think so too. You was writing and didn't. She's saying, it's very therapeutic. And when you were writing it, you were letting your stuff out and you probably just didn't realize it. It was like a form of journaling because you
Right.
were writing for your friends poetry
Yeah.
and it
'Cause
doesn't
I
relate to
wasn't
them.
right. I wasn't using it as that. I
No,
was just writing. But
writing
yeah.
poems. But
Yeah.
it was,
It
not
could have
realizing
been. It could have been.
subconsciously.
Yeah.
Subconsciously.
Yeah.
That's just how we go. That's how we women, our minds go. Okay, so are you're willing to talk about that situation, right? Because I want to know all about the
Yeah.
bus situation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you guys, he's gonna tell us this story. It's kind of bugged out. It's not bugged out, but it shows that the justice system kind of works sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Sometimes.
so what happened? What happened?
um 2016. I had just got home from work and I got a phone call from my girlfriend at the time, uh, asking me to meet her at the bus station, at the bus stop.
Okay,
But she had a bag that was too heavy and she had it strapped across her body. And she didn't speak on anything. She just asked, she's like, "Can you meet me at the bus stop?" The situation had already happened, mind you. And she never said nothing about it.
hmm
So I said, "Yeah, I'll meet you there." And as I was walking up to the bus stop, the bus was coming.
okay,
So the bus stop, she walks out and she's arguing with a guy that's walking out of out of the bus behind her. And they're going back and forth. They're arguing. And I hear her say, "I know your mom didn't raise you to put your hands on females." This is what she said walking out of the bus.
okay,
So now all of my life, like I'm like a uh because of what my mom went through
hmm
and all of that, that turned me into the type of person that wasn't going for that type of stuff.
right.
So it kind of like a switch. She flipped the
The
switch.
protector came out of
Right,
you.
right.
Okay.
So so I asked her, I was like, "He put his hands on you?" She said, "Yeah." So what happened on the bus was he ended up pushing her. And because she had the bag across her body, she
hmm
went in the direction where the bag was on her body. So
Okay.
she almost hit the floor
Okay. On the bus.
on the bus.
Did she
But she
know
did
this person?
no, no, no. He was a random guy that was on the
Oh
bus.
God. That's why I don't do
Yeah,
public transportation.
yeah. So but the people that was on the bus caught her before she hit the floor.
Okay.
So so now I hear that and then she says yes and then I look at him and he's talking Like he was so he was so stuck on her. It was weird because like he
Mhm.
wouldn't his attention was constantly on her. Like he wasn't paying attention to anything else.
Mhm.
His attention was on her. They were going back and forth, and then I'm looking at him,
Mhm.
and and I asked him, I'm like, you you put your hands on her. So now at this point, I don't even the rest of the conversation.
Uh-huh.
I don't even.
It's all
I'm
mute. You don't hear
right.
nothing.
I'm just going
Okay.
back and forth with him. So now this is on Queens Boulevard. If
Oh,
anybody
this
knows
city.
Queens, Queens Boulevard is Queens Boulevard is huge. So now, unfortunately for him, we had to walk in the same direction going home.
And was he
From
still gabbing? Was he still?
yeah,
He just didn't know when to shut up.
no. So now, he's still talking. We're walking across Queens Boulevard. So now at this point, I'm just like, I know I should have walked away from it. I probably could have walked away from it, but it just
He shouldn't have
happened.
put his hands on her.
Nah,
Right.
he
Like
shouldn't
coulda,
have.
shoulda, woulda. Like, yeah.
So I ended up smacking him open hand. And this was
Did he come for you? Or
no,
he just
no,
kept antagonizing.
right,
He just
right,
didn't know when okay.
right.
Okay.
And so I smacked him and we just started walking. And I actually looked back and saw him on the ground. He
So
was
you hit
trying
him that hard. You smacked
yeah,
that anger. Okay. You
yeah,
smacked him. Right.
yeah. So
Because he
now
wasn't built like that. Those type of dudes that go after women, I think they're not built to handle men.
nah,
So he was lightweight.
yeah.
No disrespect. Okay.
Mentally and physically. Those dudes is
Yeah,
they don't they would never they just target women.
they're horrible.
They fight
Yeah,
women. They
yeah, they
don't
fight because they can't handle a man, so they go after
right.
women. I can't stand men like, oh God, I can't.
Yeah,
But anyway, right? He was weak. Okay.
yeah. So I look back and I see him trying to get up, and then I just kept walking.
Right, because you wasn't gonna hit somebody and go back and help them up. Like that's not what happens.
No.
Not what happened. Okay.
So we keep walking,
Hmm.
and then my ex was cool with the business owners in the area because
Okay.
she's always in the stores.
Okay.
So a little bit of time goes by, and she's talking to one of the business owners in the store, and he's like, "Did you hear what happened with that guy? With that guy a couple of weeks ago? He ended up dying up there on the corner."
So he died on the spot?
No,
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
get into it.
Oh, okay.
So so the business owner is talking to her about him, but
Mhm.
we don't know it at the time. She doesn't
Okay.
know it at the time.
Okay.
So she's like, he asked her, you hear about the guy? He died on the corner. So she comes home and she tells me, she's like, man, do you think it was him? She explains what he says, but then she's like, do you think it was him? I'm like, nah, I don't. Probably not, because we're in Queens. It could be anybody.
Okay.
So then, a few more days pass. She gets a phone call. One of her friends. They see our mugshots on the on the news. Yeah, we all
Oh,
we're all over the every news station, every newspaper, all over social media. We're everywhere.
hey Gabe. So somebody took your picture and gave it to the police. Oh,
Not
yeah,
I
Shamika.
don't know how that goes, but
Cause like, how
it
did
was a
they know?
mugshot. It was an old mugshot.
Okay,
But they
so how
get
did they
you because
know?
of video. Video.
Okay, right. The videos on the corners, on the light. Okay, all right.
Right. So so yeah, we're all over the place.
And
And
y'all didn't know. Y'all walking around all willy nilly, not knowing there's a mugshot out. I mean, there's a warrant
right, because
or whatever.
we rarely watch TV
Okay,
and we just didn't know. And then after that, we're we're wanted for questioning
okay.
for homicide.
Both of you.
Yeah. Because
Okay,
she's in the video. She's in the video with me. She
okay.
didn't do nothing, but she's in the video.
Right,
Like you can
right,
tell she was with me. Because
right.
I walk off with her in the video. So then
Okay,
we figure out we're wanted for questioning. So
okay.
then a lot of time goes by after that. Like I didn't hand myself in. Like uh
Why? Well, look, that's such a bunky question. Like, why didn't you turn that really is such a bunky question. Like, why didn't you go into okay. But it was weeks since that happened. Now that happened, so it's been a period of time.
yeah, since that happened. But
Okay.
what actually happened with him though is that after the situation happened,
Hmm.
he ended up passing away 9 hours later. So he didn't pass away on us. He didn't pass away there though. He passed away
Okay.
in the hospital.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what happened. So
So that
now
was a powerful hit.
so now um I'm wanted for the homicide. I'm waiting it out, and I know I have a close friend in the music industry. So what he did was he ended up introducing me to three chaplains, and chaplains are the guys that work in the churches in the prison
Yeah.
system. Yeah,
Okay.
he introduced me to three of them. They were all friends. So I'm talking to them, and they bring me to the first lawyer, and the first lawyer is like mean dude, older. He's like,
Hmm.
yeah, you're gonna get such and such amount of time, involuntary manslaughter. They might drop it down to involuntary manslaughter. It's like he's giving me all the crap that I
My
really.
sons tell me, "Mom don't always go here," but I have to ask, is he an older white lawyer?
Yeah, who? Oh, the lawyer I was talking to. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Makes
yeah.
sense.
And it seemed
Okay.
like he didn't like Queens County is a white county pretty
Oh
much,
yeah, and you're a black man in a white county, and
right? And it happened to a white dude.
I was gonna ask, was it a white guy? Oh, you
Yeah,
know they was about to get you. You
yeah. But
and then that explains why he was running off at the mouth.
they really couldn't. See, the reason why my friend introduced me to the chaplains was to protect me.
Right.
He did that to protect me from Queens because they worked
Wow.
in a Brooklyn precinct, the chaplains.
Okay.
So now I'm talking to them. I'm talking to the first lawyer. I didn't like what he was saying. So
Right.
my girlfriend at the time, she was close friends with a female that knew a lawyer in the Bronx.
Okay.
So she linked me to him.
Okay.
He's actually a legal aid lawyer that
Okay.
specialized in homicide cases.
Okay.
So I started talking to him, and he's telling me this, telling me that, hand yourself in. So that's when I ended up handing myself in.
Now, did
But
she turn herself in? Did she have to turn herself in?
no, because at the time her picture was all over the place too. But
Uh-huh.
they wanted me.
They wanted you because you
Yeah,
did the contact. Okay.
yeah. So so what they did was the guys, it was like, well, come hand yourself in to our precinct in
In the
Brooklyn.
Bronx, in Brooklyn.
In
Okay.
Brooklyn, yeah. hand yourself in Brooklyn to us, and we'll have Queens come here to get you.
Now,
Need you
why
to
did they
speak
do that? Because
because
Queen is white.
if something would have happened to me, they would have known how I was when I left them.
That sounds pretty terrifying.
Yeah. So
How are
that's
you feeling? How are you feeling when all this stuff was going on? Like you're in the middle of turning yourself in Brooklyn so that they can turn you over to Queens. You have one lawyer saying they could drop it down, what, manslaughter, homicide,
involuntary manslaughter. Yeah.
voluntary manslaughter, and you have all these chaplains around you that are supporting you. Like, what's going on with you internally? Because, like, this man has died. You're all over the place. Your picture's all over the place. So what does that feel like? Look, this is the therapist in me. Like, what? No, because I
Yeah.
want to know. I want to, like, what does that feel like? There's a
See,
bunch of stuff going on.
see, I'm pretty much the type that I take things as they come.
Mhm.
Like I don't really. I was just like, all right, or if whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
So you were just calm like that. There was no anxiety, no anxiousness, nothing going on. You just like whatever's going to happen.
Yeah,
Okay,
because I couldn't.
couldn't control it.
Right,
Right,
I couldn't.
right.
I couldn't do nothing at that point.
Okay.
So now the day comes where I go to hand myself into Brooklyn.
Mhm.
I walk into the precinct with one of the chaplains,
Okay.
and the sergeant in that precinct walked over to me and hugged me.
What was that about? Like, what? No, like that's kind of
Yeah, yeah,
so. I could take that the way my mind goes. I could take that as Joe. They were coming for you, and they were going to take you out. And this man is like, "You saved your life." Like that's the way I take stuff because I'm like, I've
well,
never. You didn't know this man, right? Did you know this man?
no,
And he hugged you.
no, it was a female.
Oh, it's a
Yeah, it was a female.
female sergeant.
Yeah, she ran that precinct. She was the boss in that precinct.
Oh my.
And she walked over to me and hugged me as soon as I walked through the door.
Well, of course they knew who you were because you're all over the place.
Right.
What was
But I think because I never got to really speak to her, I
uh-huh.
wanted to. Like after everything, I wanted to go back and speak to
Mhm.
her. But I was thinking about that the whole time.
That hug?
Yeah,
Like, why did she do that?
yeah,
I think you need to
yeah.
go back and find her and find it. I think you need to talk to her.
But
Pressing down.
I think she. I kind of know. I kind of figured it out after over time
Okay.
because it was she knew the reason why it happened.
Right. The circumstances that led up to it.
Right.
And this was
She
2016.
yeah.
Okay.
So she knew I did that because of what he did to her.
Right. Exactly. Like
That's
you're on
the
the
only
you're on
thing
the
that makes sense.
okay.
And then the two detectives that came and got me,
From Queens.
yeah, from Queens.
Okay.
But you know how cops like to do the good cop
Good
bad
cop, bad
cop,
cop. Right.
right? But they told me that they if it was their wife, they would have did the same thing. Like
Of course they
so
of
many
course
people
they
was
would.
telling me that.
Of course anybody would. If that was my sister, I would have done that.
Yeah,
It's the natural order of things. Mm.
yeah. So now I'm in the precinct. They take me down. No, they take me to the cell.
Okay.
They take me to the cell, and I'm sitting in the cell. Now, when these things happen, they have to do an autopsy before anything else happens.
So
So
weeks
yeah,
have passed. Probably sound like more than a month. More than a month has passed.
after,
So
from when
you
I
said
handed
they,
myself in.
right.
Oh yeah, months. This
So
is
was the autopsy done before this? Like, was there already an autopsy
no,
report? So they had to exhume the body and do an autopsy, or did they
probably.
have?
I don't know what that was about.
I be
But
watching too much TV.
but when I handed myself in, it was 2-3 months after the
Okay,
situation happened.
okay. They
So they
probably had to have tissue samples or something. Because I'm like, the way my mind goes, I'm like, what if he was cremated? They would have nothing. So they had to have, because of the type,
or they put a pause on everything until I handed myself in.
held them that long.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what happened though, because
okay.
they did the autopsy when I handed
After.
myself in
Okay.
because they had to know they had to know what they were doing
Right.
with me. So um, the two detectives was in the they were walking around the precinct, and then
Mhm.
one of them walked over to the cell I was in, and he was like, "Mr. Smith." He was like, "I'm not supposed to tell you this." He's like, "But there's a light at the end of the tunnel." This is what he told me. So
Did it give you hope? Did it give you hope?
um,
Or you just still
I
didn't
was
know
just
what was going on? You just like,
no, I still didn't know,
okay,
but I was trying to figure that out. What he
okay,
said. So,
okay.
I mean, it sounded like good news to me. There's a light at the end
Sound
of the
like
tunnel. I
right.
just didn't know how much of a
Light was
good news
there.
it was, like the
Right.
level of it, because that could have meant anything.
That could have been anything.
Yeah,
That
it could be like, all right, you're not getting the needle, but you're gonna be in prison for the rest of your life, type situation.
now how long oh, yeah. That's so how long were you in there? Like how long were you
Oh, in the cell?
yeah. How long
No,
yeah, how long
I wasn't in there long at all. So now what happened is after he said that, I sat back down. So
okay.
that process right there was like 3.5 hours. So I was in that cell for like 3.5, 4 hours.
Okay.
So after he said that, they came and got me. They came to the cell, got me, brought me downstairs. It's a room with a desk in it.
Okay.
So I sit down, and he's like, one of the detectives that transported me.
Uh-huh.
He was like, Matt, this is your paperwork. Um, when we first got you, when you first handed yourself in,
Okay.
this is the paperwork.
Okay.
It said homicide on it. Yeah, it
Okay.
said homicide on the paperwork. He's like, but this is what's going on now. He dropped the paper on the desk.
Uh-huh.
Misdemeanor assault in the third.
You went from homicide to a misdemeanor and assault in the third.
Misdemeanor assault in the third. Yeah.
And you're a black man that killed the white guy in the white area.
Yeah.
That was God. So
So
they
when I
told you what
saw
why.
that,
Yeah, that's
that was just like, all right, you y'all can say whatever you want to say now.
well, how are you feeling? Because this whole time you're seeming like you're just taking it like a grain of salt, like this is what it is, da da da. You're just going with the flow.
Yeah.
But I know that there was a part in you when all this happened. You may not realize it now. I'm telling that you may not realize it. But I know there was a part of you inside that was jumping all over the place and nervous because like you have to turn yourself in for a murder, well, a death, right? And then a life, and however they want to word it. Um, you don't know what's going to happen. Cause see, I keep going back to everything because I'm trying to figure out what could have been going on in your mind. Because you see, your girlfriend tells you you're all over the news. You have to turn yourself in. You don't want to turn yourself in yet. You go see a lawyer who basically tells you it's over for you, and then The chaplains come in, bring you to Brooklyn. I'm saying this all fast and bunky
Yeah.
language so I can process it. Bring you to Brooklyn. Um,
Mhm.
the sergeant, black female, sees you, comes up, gives you a hug, like, okay, this isn't Christmas. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
They come get you and take you back over there, put you in a cell, bring you out after processing, show you that you were wanted for homicide, and now it's dropped down to a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
How
Me
were you feeling? Yeah.
before the misdemeanor, before I saw the paper with the misdemeanor on it,
Uh-huh.
it was more of it was it. I was thinking about the unknown more than anything else.
Were you
Like
thinking about the fight? Like when I say the fight, I mean like,
no,
okay, no, I'm not talking about with him. Not with him. I'm talking about, okay, I got a fight ahead of me. I got to get lawyers and I got to defend myself. Like, was that going through your mind? Like I was protecting my girl. Like,
yeah, that was definitely the process. But
okay,
but it was I was all right with it because um the reasoning why it happened.
right,
Because in my head, I'm like, man, because that's how I was anyway. That was just me.
right,
So I'm like, I'll do it again. So
right,
whatever, so whatever's going to happen is what I was going to have to deal with.
right.
That's it. So the time I knew it was going to be somewhere between 5 and 10.
And you were you. I mean, like at the end of the day, someone did lose their life was ended. It ended. But we're
Yeah,
gonna get into that also. But you were just accepting that, okay, I'm going to get 5 to 10, like all calm like that. I would have
yeah,
been. You see how I am right now. I would have been.
yeah.
Can you imagine? I would have been all over the place. There's no way. They probably would have gave me time just for my behavior in the precinct. Like
Yeah,
it's
but
just
you know
like,
what too though? You gotta you if you're the type of person that's gonna react
yeah,
in that type of way, like as far
yeah,
as like protecting your family, protecting your kids,
right.
protecting
You got to
whoever
be prepared for the
for what's
consequence.
gonna exactly,
I hear you.
exactly.
I hear you.
So
No, I get it.
so now I see the misdemeanor paper,
Okay.
and now it's actually the craziest thing happened too. When there was a black detective in there
In
before I
Queen,
came out. Yeah,
in Queen.
yeah.
Okay.
When I handed myself in, there was a
Okay.
black detective in there, and he walked over to the cell, and he's talking to me through the bars,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "We're gonna hang you. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that."
No.
Yeah, talking crazy. Yeah,
And you remain calm during all of this. You didn't bug out. You
nah,
just well, no, there was no
because
point to bug out.
I'm like I'm a very laid back type person. I'm
I
very
see that.
reserved.
And I
Yeah,
heard that. I heard that and I see that. Now,
yeah.
sis,
So that didn't bother me at all because I understood Queens also. Queens is
okay.
Queens. I understood
I
all
see.
that.
I don't know the city. I don't know the city. I married a dude from the Bronx and I think like I don't know the city people. I don't know.
But
It's
it's more so like it's not about the city people. It's about the system, the Queens judicial system.
uh-huh.
Like it's predominantly white,
Oh yeah, so they're going to get you.
right?
Yeah,
They're against black people
right.
because of
By
how
any
that
means
system is.
necessary.
Right.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So I understood why he said what he
Well,
said.
but that he up, up. You're right, Jamaica. Yeah, them house ones. They and the fact that like sometimes people forget who they are. You know,
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, probably when he goes home at night, them officers talking about him just like that too. And
absolutely.
even though I see their unity and I respect it, I'm a law enforcement person. You know what I'm saying? But right is right, is wrong is wrong. But at the end of the day, when you take that shirt off and that badge, he just like you in their eyes. And they could say till Jesus come that that is not the truth, but it is. Because the
Yeah.
first time something goes left, they're gonna call him that word the first time.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely. They
officer, if
probably
you
calling
ever
him
see
that.
this,
They probably
they
calling him that in the precinct.
probably while they having coffee and he just laughing in their face because he got a badge. Like how what? So
Yeah.
yeah.
But then again too, a lot of those black cops act like that around them to fit in.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Which is kind of
But yeah,
crazy and kind of sad, you know.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that's really sad.
So after he said that, and after I
Oh,
saw what the
disgusting.
charges dropped down to, he was the
Uh-huh.
first person I thought about. That
Yeah.
black cop was the first
Yeah.
person I thought about.
Played itself. I wonder how he felt after that. I wonder how he probably didn't feel. He probably didn't feel. Ugh, disgusting. And you know what? It's gonna happen to him. Oh, it's gonna come back because that's what karma do. It's gonna not
Uh-huh.
saying that he's gonna get in trouble or whatever, but he's gonna face his reality.
Yeah.
That's what it is because he's been in denial so long because he got that badge. People get the badge and
Right.
they forget.
Yep.
Ugh,
Yep.
it's just a uniform, people. It's just a uniform. Take that
Yeah.
shirt off. Your skin is brown, just like they
Yep.
forget.
So now, what's even crazier, right, is at that point I get the misdemeanor assault in the third. They could have let me go.
Okay.
I could have went home right then from the precinct.
Okay.
But they wasn't because misdemeanor assault in the third is just like me and another guy fighting in the street, and a
Okay.
cop walks up, and that's it.
Okay.
But what they did was they pushed me through the system.
So you had to put on an orange uniform and all that stuff. They processed you.
Yes. Yep.
What? Eating those nasty. There's nothing wrong with pork chops while the others eating chitlins. I can't. You're gonna have to explain that to me, because I don't know what that means. Um. So they, well, yeah, you knew you weren't queens. You knew it doesn't matter how vindicated you were. They weren't gonna let you just walk out of there.
Nah. They
I
get
mean,
back at me. They was
you
like,
killed
nah,
the white man. You
we
killed the white man. He wasn't. So how long were you? How long were you in there?
a few 3 days.
Which is still good considering.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean,
I'm not.
like
I'm not
it's
complaining at all.
yeah. I mean, like it's not justice because you got off, so you shouldn't have spent time in there. I think you probably they just did that to make themselves feel better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you go before the judge. Did you go before the judge?
Um. All right. What happened after that was
Yeah,
I went. I ended up going to. They sent me to the boat in the Bronx.
the boat.
Yeah, it's like it's a facility, but it's a boat. It's a boat with cells on it.
Really?
Literally, yeah. It's a
I've never
boat.
I've never heard of the boat. I've heard about Rikers. You know,
Yeah.
never is that in the Bronx? Rikers in the Bronx. Where's
Nah.
Rikers?
Rikers. Rikers is.
Well, it's good that you don't know.
Rikers. Yeah.
But I
No,
never heard of the boat. Never heard
but
of
I
it.
ended up going to Rikers though.
You went to Rikers?
Right. The story's not over yet.
Oh, people don't survive Rikers. People,
Nah. But there's a difference. Like there's a lot of people when you think Rikers, you think stabbings, killings, cuttings, and all of that. But
got you.
that's when
Okay.
you're that's when you get around that you get around those type of people when you really fighting cases and when you're doing time.
And when you
But
go to Rikers.
yeah. But
Okay.
I'll when I get to that point, I'll explain more.
Okay.
So they push me through the system. I go to the boat. I'm on the I'm on the boat for 5 days, and then I bail out.
How
So
much
then
was
I
your
go
bill?
like 1,500.
Okay. Okay.
So because now it's a misdemeanor assault in the third.
Okay. All right.
So it dropped. So now I go home. So
All right.
now,
'Cause it's in Queens. Okay.
so now, when all of this happened, I was working in a hospital. So they was like,
Oh,
nah,
wow.
they see they see everything, and they like,
Right.
no, it goes against the code of conduct. We gotta let you
Yeah.
go.
You're a liability.
Yep. So
Oh, the boat is the worst. Oh, okay.
yeah, because when you're on it, you know how when you get on the boat and people get seasick because it's rocking.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that's what's going on the boat.
Oh God.
You feel it rocking a little bit.
Mm. It's
So
not a carnival cruise.
yeah, so now because I'm not I have no job or nothing, I turn
Wow.
back to the streets. So,
While you're on
yeah,
while you're out on bail.
yeah, crazy decision, but it's what I
Yeah.
did. It's,
Okay.
it's what I did at the time. So now
Okay.
that happens, then I ended up getting uh set up. So now um I'm in this area, Orange County.
Okay.
I'm moving around Orange. I'm not in Queens now. I'm up here.
Okay.
So now I get set up. I get locked up. So now I have two charges. I have a drug charge, and now I have the, I'm out on bail, so I have the
So
misdemeanor assault the third.
okay, wait. So you're out on bail.
I get
You're
another
out
charge.
on you get another. Okay, you have a pending assault, the assault thing, and now
Right,
you're arrested for drug charges.
right.
Was it a
Possession.
lot? Was
Um,
it possession with the
no,
intent to sell, or were you
yeah,
using with the
possession
so
with
it was
possession with intent. Yeah,
so it was a lot,
no,
enough to
it
get
was,
an intent.
yeah, yeah. Because you can have five individually wrapped things and
Okay,
get intent.
okay, okay.
So if it looks like you're selling it,
Right.
if it's one ball, then you can pass for using. But if they're separate and they're individually wrapped,
Okay. Oh, it looks like you're trying to sell it.
right, that's where the
Okay.
intent comes.
Okay.
So now I got that.
Okay.
So now I'm in OCJ.
Okay.
So now I'm going back and forth to court in Queens. Going back and forth, going back and forth. So now they're trying to now my ex is going through the court system now too. So now for the assault.
Okay. So
But
they
now
did charge her.
yeah, but what no, at the end, no, they
Okay.
didn't. They ended up letting
Okay.
her go. But
Okay.
but they trying to play
You
they
against each
trying to
other.
right. But they
Okay.
also they're trying to make me take a charge to get to so she'd be able to go.
Okay.
It was crazy. Like they
Because yeah, you basically was about to go anyway. You wouldn't have been locked up if you weren't out there doing too much.
right.
But
Now it's
wouldn't it have
different.
been
Now it's different because now they're like, all right, no, wait, he's going through this and then he did that. So
right?
now they're looking at the situation like,
Totally different.
right,
Like, oh, you're a problem. Like they're
yeah,
looking at you like you're a problem. Okay.
yeah. So I'm going back and forth to court, and what I end up getting is 12 months altogether. I ended up getting,
From the beginning of this to the end.
yeah, at the end.
Okay.
At the
Okay.
end of everything,
Okay.
I ended up getting 12 months for both cases.
Okay.
For the assault, they gave me 6 months because
Okay.
a misdemeanor, the max for a misdemeanor is a year. That's it. They
And you
couldn't
knew
give
they was
me,
gonna give you something. They wasn't gonna just let
yeah,
you. Right.
yeah, yeah. But if that other case didn't happen, I would have been
Uh-huh.
able to get out. I would have nothing would have happened.
Right.
So now because that other case happened, they're like, nah, we're gonna give you 6 months.
Yeah, you're gonna learn today.
So they ended up giving me 6 months for the assault and
Okay.
a county year for the drugs, which for good time for both cases is 12
Uh-huh.
months together.
Okay. So you did time in Queens and up here. I
I
did
had
it.
done up here, OCJ, and that's when I went to Rikers for the 6 months.
Heard about that Rikers, man.
But on Rikers, though, what I was trying to say before is if you get a year and under, they put you in a separate. It's a year and under. It's a year and under dorm
Okay.
where you work and everything. You get a
Okay.
job and all of that. So that's none of that craziness is happening in the year and under in the year and under dorm because everybody's going home.
Because and I talk about Rikers like that because there's this young man. I don't remember his name. There's a documentary. He was placed in Rikers. First of all, he should have never been arrested. I forget his name, and I'm sure you heard the story. Everybody's heard the
The kid
story. He
that
put in
killed
Rikers
himself, right?
after he got out
Yes.
because he
Yeah.
was in there and for I think 2 years before they
Mistaken
even gave him a
identity.
court date. Right.
Mistaken identity. Yeah.
And yeah, he should have never been there. And all the trauma that he went through on Rikers. That's why I'm like that Rikers. I've heard
Yeah.
nothing about. I mean, jail is not a party anyway. I'm not built for it. But just hearing about all the violence and like they want Rikers shut down because it's such a horrible place.
Yeah. But they shouldn't have did. They shouldn't have did that kid like that though.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people from what I was hearing after that happens to a lot of people in that system. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it happened if his initial thing was from Queens because it took them 2 years before he even got like a court date.
Yeah.
So like the system down there is
And
very
that's
broken.
against the law.
Absolutely, it is. But
If you
like I
don't
said,
have
I
no,
don't know.
if you don't have no money for no lawyer,
Oh
like
yeah, you're gonna
if
sit there.
this yeah, if his family had money for a lawyer, that
Yeah,
wouldn't even happen.
exactly. And that's terrible because
Yeah.
that's where the law is broken. That's where the justice system, the judicial system is broken and jacked up because it depends on who you are. Well, not with everybody because we see Diddy. Diddy's not Rikers, but he's
Yeah.
sometimes it don't matter how much money you have, but I don't know. Diddy's a whole
It's
nother
that's
monster.
that's 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 there's so much to talk about when it comes to that. It's
Yeah.
it's it's crazy.
So you did all that time. Now when did you find out the cause? Did they ever? When did they reveal to you the
That's that
autopsy?
same before I left the precinct that day.
So you knew what happened to the guy
Yeah, before I
before
left
you
the
left.
precinct.
And tell
Before
the
I
people what happened to the guy, really. People
well,
that are viewing.
he had pre-existing illnesses. All right, let me say this first. You know when guys or when anybody has a case and they get out on like they could have done the crime, but they
Uh-huh.
get out on technicalities.
Yeah.
There's guys, the people that commit murders and beat the case on technicality. So like if they don't read you, if the cop don't read you your rights, it's a
Uh-huh.
technicality. Like
Okay.
there's a lot of different technicalities.
So that's
So
how people. This is where it shows I watch too much TV. When people are incarcerated, right, and they start
right,
reading a lot, they start reading all
about
these
their
law books,
case,
and they
yeah,
find out, and they stick to it and
yes,
find. Okay. All
that's what
right.
that's about. That's
Okay.
exactly what that's about.
See, I
So
see.
when guys get a lot of time, the first thing
Uh-huh.
they do when they go to jail is they go to the law library because they're trying to find a technicality to get out.
Okay.
Because it
I
could
don't
be
blame them. I don't blame them. I
yeah,
would.
yeah, it could be anything though, any
Uh-huh.
small little thing that somebody did that they wasn't supposed to do.
Okay.
But with him, he had pre-existing illnesses,
Okay.
so he was sick and he had drugs and alcohol in his system.
I, I
Yeah,
want to respond, but I just don't want it to sound heartless and stuff.
yeah,
But I'm like, thank God for pre-existing conditions, and for you, for your sake, not his
yeah,
family, because I know in his family's eyes that wasn't justice,
yeah,
But he shouldn't have been. Number one, he should have never put his hands on her, and
yeah,
then he should have known when to stop it,
yeah,
when to shut up and be like, walk away. You know, he just kept going and poking the bear and poking the bear and poking the bear, and knowing he got pre-existing conditions, but he's probably under the influence
yeah.
that he was feeling like a tough guy, and he ended up losing his life. May he rest in peace.
And that's why I ended up getting the misdemeanor assault in the third because they can't say in court that I was the cause of it.
Right. So
Mhm.
that wasn't a technicality.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no. Uh,
Thank God for
but that's an
when.
example. That's an example
Okay.
of something like that.
Now when
Cause,
they.
cause realistically, now what was that happen if he didn't have pre-existing
Yeah, that's
illnesses?
what I was gonna say. What if he didn't? You know,
Right. What if he didn't have pre-existing illnesses, but he had something in his system?
huh?
It wouldn't have happened how it did.
Not
So
like, not
it's
like
the
that.
pre-exist, it's the illness
Uh-huh.
that's really the important part,
That saved you.
right? Because alcohol mixed with an illness can lead to that.
Yeah, alcohol and drug. Now, did you go to court at any time? Like,
Because
because I
they
wondered
saw
if his family was there. Did they go to
they,
court? Did the family show up in court?
they went once. They went one time, but I only went from up here. I only went total like 4 times, 3 or
Okay.
4 times from OCJ.
Okay. Huh. And the family only went once. I would have
Yeah,
been there every time the doors open. If it was mine, every time that door opened, I would have been there.
yeah, but it shows you what type of relationship they had with him too.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell anyway by his mannerisms, the way he was behaving on that bus. And
Yeah,
after he got off the bus and he just kept doing it, you can tell, you can see that whatever he was doing, he mirrored it from somewhere.
yeah,
He didn't, how you changed it and was like, okay, I'm not going down that path. I'm gonna go down the opposite path. I don't want to be like this. He wasn't strong enough to do that,
right.
apparently, because he
Yeah,
saw it from somewhere. You just don't act like that. Don't see it from somewhere.
yeah.
Oh,
People
that's
are people. Well, things can always shift you into a completely different direction,
yeah.
especially when it comes to like drugs and alcohol. Or
Yeah. And I've learned that. I've learned that with the drug and alcohol thing, I've learned to see past the drugs and alcohol and realize that okay, that's not that person behaving like that. It took a
right,
long time
right.
for me to get there where I'm like, okay, this isn't that person. They're under the influence. And people, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm sick. That's why I'm all stuffy. Um,
Yeah, I got allergies too.
yeah, it's just I I just couldn't understand it because thank God, knock on wood, by the grace of God, I've never had an addiction, you know? So when I've seen people that I love highly under the influence and just the way it alters their life, I used to
Yeah,
take it personal. I used to get mad. Like, why are you
yeah.
acting like this? Why don't you just get off of it and da 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 da?
And
But
it's not that easy.
nope,
Yeah,
as I've gotten older and you know, through schooling and learning and stuff like that, I realized, oh, they have no control over this. People are like, well, why don't they just go to rehab? And that's why I think I asked about counseling because I think the two together, if you go to rehab, you have to be ready to do the work.
yeah,
Whatever you're running from, because sometimes people are running from something. And so they
yeah,
medicate it to forget it. And it's taken away it's taking you away from the ones that you love,
yeah. But
you know.
depending on why you're using, because
Right.
a lot of people things happen in people's lives
Absolutely.
that they don't heal from.
Exactly.
So they
Trauma.
don't they don't yeah, they don't realize like you have to heal from what you went through before you
Right.
can even
Because you're just medicating it. You're
right.
medicating the problem. And once you get off of that medication, like a cough syrup, the
Yeah,
cough is going to reoccur because you never really dealt with the
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
So as I've learned that, I've learned to separate the addiction from the people.
yeah,
Not that, they don't love me. They just they're running for something happened. Something happened to bring you there. Or, some people might not have gone through trauma. Some people may have tried it once and liked it. And I had asked someone, I'm not going to do names and stuff. I asked
hmm,
somebody, an addict, I said, what is it that you're chasing? I need to know what is it? Like what keeps addicts out there? What is it?
addictive personality.
And they're continually chasing that very first high. You'll
Yeah,
never get that first high again,
yeah,
but they're chasing it. And that's how overdoses and things like that happen because people are taking more and more to try to catch that first high. I said, well, you know what? I don't ever want to know what that first high is if it's going to have, as the older people say, put a monkey on my back where
yeah,
I'm chasing this thing that's unattainable again.
yeah. And then there's
So
some people that don't want to deal with the withdrawal either to become clean.
yeah, I've seen that on TV. I've seen and it's a horrible thing. It's that the dope sick and the sickness from it's just drugs are just a horrible addiction is such a horrible thing. It's
Yeah,
so. Did your dad? You said he never got off the alcoholism. He never stopped drinking. He was always alcoholic.
yeah. What's crazy too though is like I remember a lot of things that happened when I was younger.
Mhm.
So one of the things that actually happened, I was before she left him. I was like 4 years old. We were he had to go into the hospital
Okay,
due to
his
al-
liver.
due to drinking,
Uh huh.
and he had to get a colostomy bag.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and what's even crazier though is I remember the song that was playing in the van when we were going to the hospital. I'm a young kid, I'm like 4 years old, and I remember the song playing.
Because that's trauma. That's trauma. That's. I think you need to talk to somebody. You remember? There's a lot you have to unpack. I mean, I'm not licensed, but I'm telling you, I'm identifying traumas here. I think you need to talk to somebody. You have a lot going on. You'll feel so much better. I'm telling you, talking to a stranger. What? Now, this happened because we talked about the early trauma, childhood. You saw your dad with a colostomy bag, and he was still drinking. He never stopped, even though this happened. He never stopped. Um, this thing happens in 2016. You get out. Was it 2018 when everything subsided?
No, it wasn't 2018 yet. Wait,
When you
it
got
might have
out
been. It was the end of 2017.
in the 2017? Were you on probation or parole?
Nah, I was.
Okay, okay. So you wasn't on paper or anything. So you
Nah,
were done. Okay, well
yeah,
that's a blessing.
yeah. And after that,
Uh-huh.
um,
Oh God, I can't.
nah, this is more like in a positive, real positive
Okay,
direction.
all right. Because I'm like, I don't know
Because
how much more a person can take.
because with felonies, you can't. Well, people think felons think they can't do much with felonies.
So the felony came from the drug charge.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But
Oh,
I
and a
already
felony misdemeanor. No, what was it? What was
no.
that charge? Assault. The felony
The
came
assault
from the
was a
drug.
the assault was a misdemeanor.
Okay. So
The
okay.
felony came from the drugs,
Okay.
but
All
I
right.
had a prior felony too from 2006. So now I had two
Yeah.
felonies.
Now you got.
So,
Oh, you are two striker.
right.
Okay.
So now I come home and
Right.
I get connected with there's this company that helps felons. I forgot the name of the
Okay.
company though.
Okay.
They help felons get back into society, whatever.
Reactivated into society. Okay.
Right. So I ended up going there, and I ended up I ended up getting 11 certifications through them,
Okay.
and it was all construction. Like
Okay.
it's you ever drive on the street and you see the people that's working around the hole in the ground?
Yeah.
That's a certification.
So are they inmates?
No, no, no. Just
Oh,
the
okay.
regular. No, I'm talking about the
Okay.
regular guys you see in the street with the flaggers, with
Yeah.
the hat, with the
Oh, so they have to
construction
go
helmet.
through something. That's just not a regular job. You got to go through something to get those kind of jobs.
No, no, no. That's a regular job. That's that's a regular job.
Okay. So,
No,
but
me, I
okay.
just this is what I did when I came home.
Okay.
This is just certifications that I got
They
in
make good
construction
money.
when I came home. Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
do.
So what's crazy though is when you get felonies, you can't. How can I say it? If you have drug felonies,
Okay.
you can't work around drugs in a hospital.
Re-entry program. Okay.
So with me, when I got home, I ended up going to this employment agency in Manhattan,
Okay.
and uh, I filled out all the paperwork, did what I had to do. Um, I ended up getting to the interview, and I had to do the background check.
Okay.
So I did the I did the
You know where this
background
is
check.
going. Okay.
Yeah. So the background check comes back. I forgot what I was doing. I was doing something, but I get the phone call from the agency. Like, man,
Mhm.
can you come in? Um, we want to talk to you about something.
Okay.
So when I walk into the agency, they bring me to this room, and there's literally 8 people sitting at the table. 8 people sitting at a table
Mhm.
that they
For an interview, the
no,
round table.
they wanted to speak to me about my background check coming back.
Well, yeah.
so so I walk in, but they were like, Matt, yeah, we want to speak to you. They told me what it was about. Um, but they wanted me to explain to them
Okay.
what happened.
Right. Yeah,
So
because if I'm going to hire somebody and that major one pops up, yeah, I want to know what happened. Like,
yeah, and I get it. So
right.
I sit down and I tell them because the drug case and the assault case was connected.
Also, it
Realistic.
looked like okay.
No, it was. I'm saying it was connected because when the assault case happened, I I went and sold drugs. That's how
Right.
it was connected.
Yeah.
And this is what I told them. And when I was done, they were like, "Wow, we understand why the assault case happened."
Right.
Like they understood the whole thing.
Right.
So now they were like, "Matt, um, we want you to help us help you." Exact words.
Okay.
We
They
want you
were
to
giving
help
you a
us.
second chance.
We
That's what's
want you
up.
to help us help you. And what
Okay.
they said, you know how they be like, do you know any preachers or any the letters?
Uh-huh.
The
Reference letters.
yeah. It's called
Character
something
reference.
else.
Character reference.
Character references, yeah. So that's what they told me that they wanted me to get.
Okay.
Right. So I'm like, I don't I don't go to church, but I'll see what I can do.
Hmm.
So I leave, I go home, and I'm like, man, where am I gonna get these? Where am I gonna get these letters from? So now I'm talking to different people that I know. I was like, yo, can you put this letter together for me? I'm trying to get this job. Da 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 da. They're like, yeah, yeah, we'll give you letters. So now I'm
Hmm.
home, and one day it just clicked. I'm just like, nah, forget the letters. What I did was I got a folder. I put all my certifications in the folder, and I put both of my books in the folder.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
So you had written the books and everything already.
Yes.
Okay.
The books is from 2009. So
Okay.
now I put all my certifications and my books in a folder, and I go back on the date they wanted me to go back. So I'm sitting at the desk. Now there's only four people, but they're the president of the company, and
Hmm.
so I'm talking to them, and the lady's like, "So did you bring us the letters?" I'm like, "Nah, but I got something to show you though."
Hmm.
So I have eight. Right now, I have 18 certifications.
Okay.
So when I was at the table, I opened the folder and pulled out each certification and put it on the table.
Right.
And I left the
Okay.
books. I left the
Right.
books in the folder, but I put the certifications out on the table, and they were
Okay.
tripping out. Because what fellas don't realize is they want to see what you've done after
Right.
you got in trouble.
Exactly. Were you
So
still a problem or were you being productive and trying to fix the situation? Okay.
right. So when I put the certifications on the table, everybody started tripping out.
Right.
Tripping.
And two books. Okay.
Yeah. But I still got the books in the folder. I didn't even pull them out yet.
Okay.
But in my folder, the cover, you could see the green book. Realms of
Uh-huh.
Knowledge. You could see through the folder. The president of the company, he looked at it. He's like, "Yo, what you got there? You got modeling pictures? Because my face is on the cover."
Right.
So he's like, "You got modeling pictures?" I'm like, "Nah, nah." So that's when I opened it up and I handed him the book, and I handed somebody else the other book. They
Right.
started tripping out even more, and they ended up giving me. I ended up getting back into the hospital, doing what I was doing
Okay.
when the case happened.
That you weren't supposed to get back because of the charges, because they normally don't hire people. Okay. That's what I'm talking
because
about.
the assault is violent,
Right. And you can't be
and
around your clients because you're a liability. Well, a patient's. Right.
right, they could have easily shut me down,
Right.
but they gave me a better job in a better hospital, Memorial Sloan Kettering.
Who?
Memorial Sloan Kettering. It's a cancer hospital.
Oh, wow. So
Uh-huh.
making more money.
Yep.
Okay. Let me ask you, that situation, you weren't on that road to horribleness anyway.
Nah.
But do you think that that situation, do you think it changed you for the better? Did it like alter which way you were gonna go in life? Would you have gotten those certifications and written those? Well, you probably might. You would have written the books because you wrote them before. Where do you think you would be today, basically, if you didn't go through that?
I had certifications already too.
But did it
The
change your mindset though, or were
no,
you just the same
no,
chill?
no, because I had that mindset already. I was
So when
am
you were
I was
locked up,
am I was ambitious already. I was doing things before that happened.
so you didn't get that jail mentality. You know how some people go
Nah,
in, no, you didn't. No, you did it. Like
nah,
you did
because
it.
I was just like, nah. Once I found out I was getting 12 months,
Uh-huh.
I was just like, all right,
Let me just do my time.
let me get this 12 months over with, go back
Right.
home, and
Okay.
do what I was gonna do.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I would have fell all the way apart. I would have. They would have been like, she's a basket case. I mean, like you sound you sound like you got it all together.
Yeah.
You do. But I really, because this is just a me. Just think about it. Don't dismiss it. Don't dismiss it.
Nah, nah, I'm
I
not.
really think down the road, maybe consider just be like, oh, let me just see what it's about, and
Yeah.
just you know, it's good. I mean, you may get you're handling it. You're handling everything well, but you never know when that trauma is going to sneak out. Like you've gone through so much from day one since the beginning of your life. You entered this world in a traumatic situation, and it
Uh,
just kept, and you just handle everything with such grace, which is so commendable, because you could be a really ugly person. You
yeah.
really could. You could have taken everything you've gone through and just took it out on the world. Well, this happened to me. I'm like this. You know how people
Yeah.
use their past as an excuse,
Yeah.
but
It's my feelings out. Sorry for themselves.
yeah, and they always living in a pity party. Like I tell people all the time, I'm not going to your party. Just leave me alone. I'm not doing a pity. I'm not coming to your pity table. But that's not you, and that's what I've heard. I've heard that. You know, I was like, he's so humble. So he's calm. I'm like, really? And he went through all of that. Like, he's like, yeah, he's just so, just. I'm like, wow, okay, and I see it. I do.
Mhm.
How did this coming to the mom part? How did this affect your mom? Everything. Your
She
mom
was
still alive?
worried. She was worried at
Of
first.
course, of course
Yeah.
she was,
Yeah.
because we can't help our baby if they like that happens. We have no control, even though we don't have control anyway. When y'all become adults, in our minds we think we still do. In our minds we still run stuff. You know, where we don't, but in our mind we do. And she had no control.
Yeah. But she knew I was gonna get through it.
Yeah, but
And she knows how I was. She knows how I am.
did
She
you talk about, because she knows how you are, and apparently you get that from her. Seems like you get your mom is like a make it through. I'm gonna make it through. She's a
yeah,
fighter.
yeah.
Um, God bless her. Um, but did you ever talk to her about how she felt? I'm always trying to get into people's feelings. Like, did you ever sit down with her and be like, "Mom, how did you feel when I was going through this?" Because we moms, we see, once we see our kids are okay in the front of you, we're gonna put up that front that we're good. And then behind closed doors, when it hits us in our
Yeah.
quiet time is when we break down and go crazy. Just lose it, because
Yeah.
that's our baby. I couldn't protect them and da 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 da.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you ought to one day have that conversation with her.
But actually, my sister, I would have certain conversations with my sister, and she would tell me
About
certain things like um about how unhappy she is about the situation, and
uh-huh.
um, but everybody knows it could have went
It could have went real left.
completely different way.
Yeah, it really could have.
Yeah. So that's what people were holding on to more than anything else.
Right. They still had those feelings, though. I just wanted you to know that people still got them feelings. Y'all just don't
Yeah.
seem to talk about it, but y'all got them feelings. And I just want you to talk to somebody, because I'm like, it's just a lot. Even though you're cool, not saying that, okay, you have trauma and that it's going to come out bad.
Yeah.
I just think that you should talk to somebody. Like, it
Mhm.
may help, just to, like, I was fine anyway, but this crazy woman's like, I should just talk to somebody. Let me just talk to somebody. You know, just, just see what it's about, and you may like it.
No, I will actually because I want to see what what they say.
Well, they can't say anything. They can't diagnose you.
Nah,
Like the
no.
point of therapy is for you to
Just
unpack.
unload. Yeah.
Yeah, unpack it, and you may feel like 1,000,000 pounds lighter. My trauma is my girl. A little late, but God, the storm's out. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like you're never too old to grow out of your storm. Also, no matter what, I will always be a part. Will always be a part of my soul that consistently struggles to suppress the negativity being a child. And you know what, Shamika, Annette, that's true. Because I've I've done it. I haven't done the work like I should. That's why I'm going back. Um, you don't you don't not think about it, even though you're talking about it and dealing with it. I found that with therapy, um, it gets darker before the dawn because you're unpacking stuff like little things that pop up. Like you said, you never told your mother that you remember
Mhm.
seeing her face with that pot, that pan. Like you never told her that. You like probably
Yeah.
forgot till we started talking. You're like, wait a minute.
Actually,
And that's why
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
as my cousin told me, he was on the show. He was on the show and we were talking about trauma and everything. And I had a moment like you. And he said that's what he calls an aha moment because you didn't realize, yo, that wasn't okay. So
yeah.
imagine what else you got locked down in there as a little boy. But I want you to be good. I want you to be good. Um,
Thank
it's a quarter to nine, sir.
you.
It's a quarter to nine. Um, so we're gonna get ready to roll out. But is there anything like you want people to know? First of all, they need to go to. Let me do this real quick. Let's see why this people need to go get your book, My Legacy, My Life, My Legacy, and Realms of My Reality, and both on Amazon right now. You can go get the book, and they're not expensive. One's $11 and one is 10.
Yep.
One's $11 and one is 10. So they can go to Amazon, get your book. I got it in my cart. I'm gonna get it in the morning. Gotta wait till that payday. I'm gonna get the book.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read the one about your brother. I really can't. It's gonna be
I
really
can't wait for
interesting.
you to read it. I wanna
Yeah,
I wanna see
yeah.
I wanna see how you respond to what you
I'm a
read.
man. I be like, oh my God, like
Yeah.
this is crazy. You
And
know,
then another good thing about the books, they're easy to read.
they're
Like
easy.
you'll see like how I break things down.
Is it like this? Like how it's like what you sent
Yeah,
me?
exactly like that.
Okay.
But it's
Well,
a
I'm gonna
lot.
need a highlighter and write notes.
But it's a lot of deep thoughts that's broken down that so you can understand what I'm actually saying.
There was some journaling going on in there subconsciously. Subconsciously, because writing is what you do.
Uh-huh.
Writing is what you do. So it sounds to me like this is like journaling and you didn't even realize it. I'll tell you after I get it and I read it, I'll be like, oh yeah, this is a journey. All you're
Yeah.
gonna do is laugh because you're gonna be like, yeah, she said it. Because I could just tell already. I can't wait to get those books. I can't wait. I can't wait. Is there anything you want the people to know? Anything? Any last final words? Or, something that leave long lasting effects that they remember
Um,
this show.
if you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel your quick response is the right thing to do, it's actually not. Because 2 minutes, a minute, 5 seconds can change your life for the worse.
Wow.
Because actually, real quick, when I came home, I started Googling cases that were similar to mine,
Uh-huh.
and almost everybody got football numbers for the same case. You might tap somebody, they
Right.
might fall, hit their head, do whatever they're gonna do, end up
Right.
dying,
Your
gone.
life is over.
It's
Right.
over. So realistically, it's not even worth it. If you can walk away from it, walk away from it. Because it's easy to get into those situations, but hard to get out.
Yes. Because that situation changed your whole life because you got out, couldn't get a job, so you went to the streets, which made it worse.
Yeah,
Like it was a whole horrible domino effect.
yeah. But
Wow.
I stay connected to the good karma because I'm always helping people. I'm always doing positive.
So you're just receiving back what you put out, the seeds that you plant. And people don't believe in karma. People don't believe in that. I be like, the seed you plant is what you're gonna get. That's what you're gonna get. You know?
Because people always focus on the bad karma.
Yeah.
They don't realize that
Oh
there's
no,
good
yes,
karma.
good karma.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. You so good, you're gonna reap great rewards. You
yeah.
so bad, oh, you're gonna reap bad
You're not gonna
outcomes.
get it when you want to get it. But it's gonna
And
come.
never when you want to get it. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, that's the good karma. You don't get it when you want to. The bad
yeah.
karma for the people that say, "Oh, your karma coming," it
Uh,
don't come when they want it either. But when it comes, boy, does it come. So
yeah.
that's why I always say treat people the way you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
Um, be kind, say a kind word because you don't know how that can change somebody's day. You know, like
Like when I was
yeah,
telling you about the lady in the hospital, remember? With the petroleum
yeah,
jug?
yeah. That's
That
crazy.
karma comes back.
That karma comes back.
Hmm.
Wow. All right, sir. I'm getting ready to jump off of here. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having this conversation with me.
Thank you for the
'Cause I was
opportunity.
just absolutely that's tea time with Bunky. I'm gonna get that book. Like I said, I'm gonna let you know what I think. You let me know when you see a therapist. Like Buck, I found one. I'm looking for one. I think I found one. Um, yeah, and it's but you're a good guy, and I'm happy that everything turned out the way that it did.
Yeah,
Um, and for people that were watching or whatever, I don't always try to make it about race, but we know what it is. We're not living in denial. No, we're not living
yeah,
in la la land. You know,
yeah,
you're a black man that assaulted a white man, and
yeah,
at the end of the day, it never looks fondly on you.
yeah,
People always gonna come for you. It doesn't matter what that guy was doing, his behavior or whatever. They're always gonna see you as the aggressor. Like that's just the way this country is set up.
yeah.
We see it right now, right in front of us, and people are saying it's not real. Stop it. It's real. We live in our truth. So, but as long as you treat people kind or whatever, that karma is gonna come back to you, and their
Absolutely.
behavior, they got to deal with that. So we don't worry about that. So
Mm-hmm.
on that note, you guys, I'm gonna get right in this. You don't go nowhere. You wait a second.
Uh-huh.
You guys tune in next week, next Thursday, which is my 4-year anniversary. And I have on, yeah, 4 years. I can't believe it. It's gonna be a touching show. Like for those, like I said, 2 shows before where I had Loretta on and she was talking about her trigeminal crazy word. They call it the suicide disease
Uh,
because the pain is so unbearable. Many people don't make it. They take their lives. It's so bad. And so I'm talking to her support. They're talking for the first time what they went through, supporting her through this. So this is good. She's beautiful twin. Like I love the twins, identical twin. And her twin is going to tell what she went through helping her sister and advocating for her sister the behind the scenes because she had to put on a strong armor so that her sister couldn't see. And their
yeah.
best friend, childhood friend, like the three of them, amazing. So
Oh
those
yeah, I
two
gotta
are going
see
to
that.
tell they're going to tell their story next week, and I'm looking forward to it. So everybody, tell everybody about that. Tell a friend, like, share, follow, and subscribe. I appreciate you always. 7:30, 7 p.m. tea time and Bunky, where all conversations are had, and it is your safe place, safe community. So I'll see you all next week. I appreciate you. You don't go nowhere.
Mhm.